they can hold that for their final pick if they really want to.
They do have the Lyra still open, but earlier they chose not to pick it. They went for the Finn instead. The Cruel ban coming out from C9 is a respect ban towards Vainglory. We know how strong he performs on it and how much pressure he creates all over the map.
Yeah, he certainly does, and I mean that's something that Vainglory is known for. And obviously, out of Joseph, he's got a pretty mean Cruel himself, so it's not ideal to take it off the board for them. But both of these junglers, very, very wide hero pools, but it's more about trying to deny a certain composition from TSM as well as that respect ban. They know how strong the Cruel can be in terms of making sure that the Scarf stays alive in these fights.
Interesting that they go for the Glaive here, leaving the Black Feather open. Obviously, Black Feather, it's not as strong of a counter to Scarf as it is to Celeste, but it is still a very strong pick there. But maybe just going to be Team Solomid challenging Joseph, because this isn't a hero that he's played a whole lot of. I have faith that he can play this extremely well, but in recent memory, he hasn't played the Black Feather all that much.
Yeah, he's played CP Black Feather quite a bit over Weapon Power Black Feather, that's for sure. And it does combine well with Catherine because she can provide that lockdown with her stun so that you can land your abilities. Sky comes through. That's still to be decided whether it's Weapon Power in lane or CP in jungle, to be honest. It's definitely not Roam Sky, don't worry guys.
We hope. I mean, we've seen Cloud9 in the past run Catherine as a carry as well for Joseph, so hopefully it won't be a Captain Sky again, but you know, you never really know with teams at this stage. But again, Cloud9 and Team Solomid, both of these teams want to win so badly that I don't think they're going to go that unconventional.
Yeah, I think this series is too important for these two teams for any kind of crazy picks like a Captain Sky to come out.
I would love if they pick up Black Feather here and use it as a CP Black Feather in the jungle with a Sky Open Power lane. That's so much pressure through levels 4 to 8. Instead, they go for the Baptiste. That's more of a safer composition with the Catherine Baptiste. We talk a lot about it. Scarf does well against it, and we've seen him beat the composition today twice, but Sky does a lot against Scarf in lane.
And this was a very well thought out draft by Cloud9, because you think about it, when we saw the Catherine Baptiste lose, it was Scarf, Kroll, Grace. They banned away 2/3 of that. They obviously feel like the Kroll and the Grace were the big reasons why this composition was not able to win, so they take those two away and then get themselves the Catherine Baptiste again. But I feel like the Scarf was the main reason why it was being able to be countered, and this is a very similar composition.
I mean, I agree with what you just said. I think the Scarf is the main tool to beat the Catherine Baptiste just because of the range he applies. And Lance and Glaive, they play a similar role as the Cruel Lance in peeling and supporting and protecting the Scarf. Although you don't have any sustain with Lance in comparison to Grace, so they have to be very careful to not make any mistakes. I actually think C9 will take this one.
You think C9 has an edge on this one? Would you agree with that one, Bacon? Do you feel like C9 is coming in strong?
Yeah, I think the Grace was one of the key factors of that composition that was able to beat Catherine Baptiste, being able to heal up the Kroll when he goes in. Glaive is going to be very much at risk.
All right, we'll see whether that is going to be the case coming on into this one. I'm curious to see whether they can get onto this backline or whether Scarf is going to be able to keep throwing out those Spitfires across the course of the fight. Let us know who you want to take this one. It's El Clasico here in North America. Hashtag Vainglory8. Are you a TSM fan or a Cloud9 fan? We want to know. It's time to get into our grand final for North America.
Well, that's right. We are here in the finals, ready to go. Week 1 of autumn season. Cloud9 versus TSM, and I'm joined by the Source, who's going on his 8th hour of casting today.
It's no problem. I'm used to the long hours, but this will be a great series to end on. Cloud9 versus TSM. I'm favoring TSM a little bit because the last time I tried to bet against them, Flash X just landed Lance Impale after Lance Impale and just did absolute work. But C9 have a strong composition. They should be able to make this a solid fight, but I believe in Best Chuck and A's Scarf.
Well, he's going to be stunned up right here, taking a whole bunch of damage. I think a Protector contract coming out, buying him a little bit of time. Vainglory's like, yo, team, you've done wrong. That's first blood for Cloud9. Tan is on the run. TSM, a nice gifting wall back, buying time for Flash. Another stun comes through. Bad mojo. Go ahead and put Flash down, and that's 2-0 Cloud9 in the first minute.
An explosive opening. I spoke a little too soon, but I think some of that was on the fact that they didn't have all 3 members there. Vainglory was finishing off the Treant. I think they assumed they would have a little bit more time for him to show off. And actually, Best Chuck NA got rooted, so that whole play kind of got set in motion in an odd way. But I Love Joseph might be in a little bit of trouble. No, he's in some serious trouble.
Yeah, you're in real bad trouble here, Joseph. If you get out of here, I was gonna say I was gonna quit casting, but I won't put it on that. Joseph turns around, he's still alive. Oh, Joseph will eventually go down. Flash. No mercy. Best Chuck moving forward. He's gonna force Gabe Vizzle back here. But the big thing for me, Source, this game, the weapon Sky. I'm into it.
It's gonna have a lot of cutting potential, plenty of damage. It's gonna make Best Chuck NA's life pretty difficult because Scarf wants to land as many Spitfires as humanly possible, and in the lane that trading is gonna be pretty difficult. Sky is just naturally more mobile. So that's going to reduce Best Chuck NA's ability to poke out throughout the lane. Maybe once we're looking at more of, the mid to late game, as Scarf starts to build up that damage, we may see Best Chuck NA be able to throw those Spitfires into Gabe Vizzle and really dish out that damage, eventually building up broken mist stacks as we get towards the end. But for the first 15, maybe even 20 minutes of this game, it is going to be difficult for Scarf to kind of play, semi-immobile up against the speediness of Old School.
I think that makes a lot of sense. This Sky's just going to look to dance around those skill shots coming out of Best Chuck. If Best Chuck can land them, he'll find the impact, but Ordain down. Gabe's going to move forward. Flash knocks him away. Chuck's still stunned up by the Ordain as he moved backwards there. Gabe Vizzle doing a pretty good job to be a nuisance with those merciless pursuits. He's consistently just in the brush right there. Every time they move forward, just pop right there with the stun.
I mean, gotta build them stacks, man.
Mm-hmm.
Especially towards the early game. If you can walk into, mid to late game with 15 stacks, you'll have 30 by 15-ish minutes. It just, it just builds up over time. And putting some pressure there onto Von C. Gabe Vizzle is going to step forward. Will survive a lot. Nice afterburner over the wall. But Flash X is in trouble now.
Yeah, his Flash, I was going to say his Flash left for dead, but he did have his boots ready to go. Well, they have the boots as well. They're going to move forward. Actually, the mid goes to Von C. He's going to get the healing up to protect the contract, but Flash now is left for dead. You don't get out of this one. Ordained is there. Gabe Vizzle will get the kill. It is 3-1, Cloud9.
Yeah, Cloud9 dictating the pace of this game with this aggressive early jungle invasion, moving as a unit. I Love Joseph and Gabe Vizzle. And they're just, content to leave Old School in the lane because Scarf probably isn't going to be able to land a lot of skill shots. That means that Old School will not be pressured out, at least in terms of health bar. Even if Scarf manages to push up the wave, Sky doesn't do a terrible job of clearing that out and should be able to farm up the CS. So even if Scarf decides to push things up, maybe they even come in for a jungle gank. So for the moment, C9 not afraid to make moves around the map, whereas TSM has been kind of tempered in their possible early aggression. Their composition isn't amazing at early fighting unless they land all of that crowd control, but they're not even given the opportunity to try.
Yeah, I mean, it feels like the Lance, the Glaive could be very aggressive and put some hurt on C9, but Flashy's felt like he just needs to babysit Best Chuck Beer. He's been babysitting the entire time. And at this rate, he's babysitting incredibly well. I'm going to need a babysitter in a couple months. Maybe I'll hit Flash up.
Possibly. Does a good job. At least as long as Flash shows up as Lance, you'll have a solid amount of protection. We do see a couple of items being finished up. Vonsi does have that tension bow, so a little bit more damage in there for the side of TSM. Maybe they can look to get a little bit more aggressive in the fight. The fountain is finished for Flash X. We don't have a finished item for Best Chuck yet. Should be able to get that Frostburn done soon, but it isn't there at the moment. Old School already has that finished Sorrow Blade, so we can see a little bit of that gold difference showing up in the lane items.
How do we expect Old School on this weapon Sky to build?
I mean, going for the starting Sorrow Blade, probably a breaking point afterwards. And that's really
hold that. They're on the Chuck. They had 1 stun, 2 stun, healing flask. Not enough.
And to walk right from
Von C here. Oh, Von C! He's got the best rotations, man. Von C, even when he doesn't find the kill, it's still so sneaky.
Yeah, I mean, he was in the right place. If they had slightly better position, that could have happened. And he managed to get his own tree in.
Von C, healing flask, he moves back. One more attack will take him down, though. Old School's there, utilizing the move speed bonus out of the attack, the target lock there now. And Impale, Crystal Sentry, getting him well back. Flash doing his best, but Flash is in a bad place. He doesn't have Fountain, has a healing flask of his own. He's ordained up and taken down. Old School finds another one. We're 6 minutes in, and this is 5 kills for C9.
Yep, best check now next up to the plate. Gets solid damage on the I Love Joseph. Maybe he picks up the kill. Nope. Good Fearsome Shade to walk away from that, but TSM just kind of being routed every time they step up to do some damage. Now they are walking in one by one. This isn't the best coordination out of them. C9 on the other hand, moving as a very, very solid unit. I definitely think that Old School is going to move over into a breaking point and just build up massive stacks, continue to kite the enemy team, because once one of those crowd controls miss, it's gonna be a good time for Old School. It's very difficult for anybody to really lock him down if the Impale doesn't connect or if a Githian wall doesn't put him in the wall. Yes, you could have the Afterburner, but that means you have to get very, very close, and you can trust that Gabe Vizzle is not gonna let that happen easily.
No, he's not gonna let that happen. Bit of an advantage here. Vonsi waiting on cooldown for that Afterburn as he was playing games with Joseph. Joseph forced him out of his side of the jungle. Now this is C9 once again as a 3. It'll be Vonsi able to move down into his jungle, and he'll get at least a half rotation out of this. But C9 definitely just setting the tempo here.
Yeah, and we talked a little bit about in the earlier series, Best Chuck's item build prefers that defense, has that additional armor, is going to build into the Frostburn second. So wanted to get that sustain out of an even harvest, keep himself alive, wants to survive the fights longer. Actually, Old School goes for the poison chip. So they've decided that they want to apply as much healing reduction as possible, make it so that they last out the team fights. Even if they don't necessarily burst through a target, they know that they're going to be cutting down on Vonsi's sustain as well as the fountain out of Flash X. And in 2.8, healing is already at a premium. Taking any more away just slowly devastates a lot of team compositions that want to play the slow fight, especially one with a scarf.
It feels like, well, I don't know. It feels bad, man, that to see Vonsi like with the reins on him. You can see like it feels like every time Vonsi moves out on the middle area of the map, he's like, okay, I want to make something happen. Then he runs into Batiste, and he's like, okay, I'm ordained. I'm not going anywhere from here. But it's just like they need to cut Vonsi loose, let him make some plays. Flash, he's stunned up. They're taking a lot of damage. Flash doesn't have to self fountain. It's gonna use his healing flask though.
Yeah, I'd say that's worth it to him. He'll be able to regen up a bit because he has that fountain. Life Spring will increase his regen. He's already a little over half health. This is a good push decision from TSM. They may not know that they're on the gold miner, but they see an open turret and they will take that down, so they will get their first turret of the game, get that 400 gold. That reduced health on the most outer turret allows for them to do that very, very quickly, and they'll close up some of the gold gap. Concern, however, is really on where does Vonsi make his play, because so far he just isn't allowed to move throughout the map in the way that, you know, we would expect of him, especially not after that game on Cruel, where he really just ran the table. For the moment, it seems as if TSM is waiting for Cloud9 to get over aggressive.
Exactly. I feel like, yeah, they're just kind of baiting them in. You know that aggression is going to come out here. Old School, the damage stacking up. Flash, interesting impale, mostly to clear that wave out. Whoa, taking down, holding that fountain. Man, he's got some patience.
Nerves of Steel. Doesn't want to use the ability if they don't have to. However, they've now left Best Chuck NA alone. Vonsi is going to show up. They should be able to clear out a reasonable number of these minions, but I think this turret still goes down.
Yeah, it should go down, and I know Vonsi wants to play games. He's going to Afterburn out, but he does get stunned up. Nice Githian wall, and then Impale comes over the top. Blocked off, though. Fearsome Shade will cancel this off. They're able to take out Best Chuck. They're looking for more. Vonsi, one more attack from Joseph. Oh, he's got some sustain of his own. 552 damage, though. Oh my goodness. Tan getting wrecked. Triple kill coming through for the Batiste. C9 taking the ace.
Yeah, and that fountain was held throughout that entire fight. I think the Blast Tremor, I think that, you know, Flash X was holding it as long as he possibly could, and then the Blast Tremor, you know, stopped him from being able to use it. They end up losing Best Chuck NA very early on in that fight. We'll get to look at this one more time, so it looks good for them. They've got a lot of damage on the Old School. He was standing on the goop, but the Blast Tremor comes through, and I'm almost positive that canceled out the very, very late fountain that Flash X wanted to use. He's gonna end up being chased down. It ends up being a triple kill for I Love Joseph, actually, not Old School, doing massive damage. Has the Shatter Glass, so there's definitely, you know, some crystal power in there. But I'm surprised that C9 is able to do this so well, and it might just be because these two teams know each other a lot when it comes to finals. They've played each other a ton and probably know each other very well. And Vonsi, good night, sir.
Maybe, yeah, that's, well, good night, sir. Exactly the way you said it. You said it best. That was 9 breaking point stacks in that second and a half there. That was pretty insane.
Yeah, massive damage is starting to come out of Old School on this weapon power. Sky has that breaking point, so pretty much full build when it comes to the damage. On the other side, Best Chuck NA is getting closer to becoming the devastating late-game Scarf, but will C9 let TSM set up for that? We saw that in the previous game. It was difficult for Rogue to do that up against C9. C9 seems very confident in their ability to engage, and Flash X is over the wall. He's isolated, he's all alone, he gets stunned.
Oh, there's so many stuns! 3 strike over the wall. Old School takes him down. Von C late to the party, and they might go for him as well. The Crystal Sentry's here, but not as strong as it once was. Game is Old School, they're chasing forward onto Best Chuck. Old School under the turret, throws up the forward barrage for a little bit of slow. He's gonna get out of here, but Von C still in trouble, my friend. Healing Flask comes out of Gabe and Von C simultaneously. Old School, sir, he's right back down. He's gonna take the backs as well as the Crystal Sentry, and Old School is on fire right now.
Yep, and Von C has been seen. I don't know if he's gonna make it out of this. Gabe Vizzle, do you have the game sense? He doesn't.
Oh, typically does.
Unfortunate, but a lot of the other members weren't really in position. It would have taken Sky a little while to get there. So maybe it's for the best that Von C walks away from that one. Item-wise, Von C, he's picking up a bit of the damage, doesn't have his breaking point yet, or maybe under these circumstances he picks up a Poison Shiv. It's getting very difficult for them to finish off any of the targets on the side of C9. Maybe that Mortal Wound would be enough to cut through the healing that they're getting, because I Love Joseph is sustaining fairly well. Old School is sustaining fairly well. Gabe Vizzle is then throwing out all of those activates to keep them alive. And Flash X is really confident going across these walls. I would not be so if I were him, but he's the pro here and he knows best.
Yeah, you say it, but I mean, you were saying the same thing about Status. Was that? I don't know. Actually, yeah, that was earlier.
Yeah,
it's been a long day. You were saying the same thing about Status. It did blow up in his face. We'll see how this is going to play out. I think they're in a desperate position here. And they have to take some risks. Although Flash, also, sometimes he doesn't have vision. He gets over, provides a little vision, a stun maybe his team can follow up on. But yeah, it's not a great place to be right now.
Has picked up the War Tread, which is something they've been missing, and Gabe Vizzle has been able to engage on them pretty quickly. However, Vizzle has got the Echo. That Double Blast Tremor is going to come out. TSM needs to be careful about where they position this, and they need to block at least one of the 2 Blast Tremors with the Crucible. If they don't, I don't know how they survive, because once the second one comes out, that's just going to be so much time where they can't do anything, where Best Chuck NA is just being run at by this weapon power. Sky Old School has done an amazing job of dishing out damage while pretty much isolating Best Chuck NA away from the team. He's now working on some armor penetration, should likely be going towards, with the amount of attack speed that he has, I'm almost positive it ends up being a bone saw. No point in going for tension buff at the moment. So C9 slowly pressuring TSM out, and Von C just, this hasn't been his game. He hasn't really been able to do his job.
No. You need to unleash Von C. Von C on a leash is not... He's just not the same player. You can tell right now. He's kind of like, yo, team, like, I'm ready to go. I built offense. I got no defense here. And I'm just waiting around for the Scarf.
Yeah, but he's ready to go probably about 10 minutes too late and 10,000 gold too late. It's becoming a struggle for the side of TSM to even find any more additional farm. Now the members of Cloud9 will instantly rotate onto this Kraken. This should be easily taken by them. And TSM is good on the Kraken defense. Let's see what they do with it.
What is... Alright, you're Flash X right now. What are you telling your team? How do you play this out?
As slowly as humanly possible. The more time you have, the more opportunity there is for Best Chuck NA to land damage. Unfortunately, Best Chuck NA doesn't have a broken myth, so you're not building those stacks. You still need to play it slowly, but once the Kraken, I think, gets, pretty much past the choke point turret, you have to be willing to hard engage. Von C has to find Old School, knock him into that wall, which is why they want to play around this area. There's all of this possible terrain for them to knock people into, and Flash X already starting to take some damage.
Already taking serious damage. A couple breaking point stacks very quickly for Old School. They're on the choke point turret. Kraken healthy. Best Chuck. But that's a nice block on that first blast shimmer coming through. Gabe's still holding the Echo here. We'll see if he wants to go ahead and come around with another round of that. Kraken marching forward. It's an ordained out. They're on to Best Chuck. Oh, nice afterburn from Von C, peeling them off there. Flash X doing his job as well, but they're going to heal up, giving C9 an opportunity to get onto the one Vein Crystal turret at least. And TSM, I don't think they want to pull the trigger moving forward. Trying to kill Gabe Vizzle. He wants another stack on that passive, though. And Flash will oblige him. It looks like TSM moving out, but you got to be careful here. This is such a dangerous situation. Of course, they don't have Fearsome Shade right now. Gabe Vizzle moves back in. He'll be met with a Spitfire and a Goop drop down Impale. Not connecting. Ordained is down onto Flash. Danger Zone Flash. Bad Mojo's coming through as well. And with that, TSM are going to go in backup.
Yeah, and that's the best that TSM could play it. Yes, maybe they could have gotten a kill or two, but they didn't give up any more than they needed to. Now, it was 2 turrets, which means the next major push is C9's opportunity to close out the game. That Bonesaw has now come through for old school. Best check in, he's still not there. He's about 400, 300-ish gold off of his broken myth. He needs that for them to be able to win a team fight. Because, like I said, if they can play these fights, slowly and methodically, let Best Chuck NA build up those stacks, they can eventually get C9 to overcommit and go a little bit too far, especially with the amount of slow that is being output. Unfortunately for them, though, Gabe Vizzle, isn't giving them a lot of opportunity to walk out onto the map and find any farm. And he actually held his Echo in that last fight, which I think meant he was going to double Merciless Pursuit whoever stepped in and kind of CC chain them, because he didn't use it on his last stringer.
Well, Best Chuck, he's about 100 gold away from that broken myth. The problem is that he's going to want that infusion as well. This might be a situation where you're just not going to have what you want, though. I really think he does need that broken myth, as you were talking about, though. Once again, C9 just clearing through the jungle of TSM. They got that stranglehold on them, choking them out. Waiting maybe for another Kraken to spawn up here. Only 1 turret remaining. There's that broken myth, finally complete.
Yeah, and this has been beyond, setting up and camping in the enemy team's jungle. C9, they've gone in, they've laid the foundation, they've built a house, they've been there so long that they've actually paid off the house. That's how little space TSM has had to move around in their jungle. Best Chuck NA finally has this broken myth. This is their opportunity to find the fight that they need. Maybe they can do it.
Oh, Mortgage jokes. Flash is dead! He didn't found the no Crucible! No! Flash! Best Chuck, well, he's gonna try to burn the old school down, but they don't have enough damage. That is a beautiful ace coming out of Cloud9 to cap off a beautiful game 1 here in the week 1 finals of autumn season. 13-1 Source. Wow.
Very clear control from Cloud9. We said that there was potential within TSM's composition to come back. That's a Scarf and a Clay. That's a lot of damage. There's always a possibility that you could find the team fight, but Cloud9 never gave them an opportunity. Old School pulled out the weapon power Sky and, honestly put on a clinic of how you handle these laners that are becoming so prevalent in 2.8.
Yeah, he did really put on a show there. Impressive stuff. But I wouldn't count TSM out of this one just yet. And to go ahead and break